is what we're going to call a stakeholder update, Agency of Choice stakeholder update, and we're going to try to do a little bit more video conferencing so that we can have all the offices a little more involved and instantaneous and get one message for everybody. So I'd like to kind of start with some of the changes we've done in the last few years have been pretty dramatic, and just to give you some perspective, when I started in 1974 as a file clerk, and I just want to ask for the old timers, Sandy, do you remember having files and having to put clients on hold and to go say, well, let me stop and go find the file? And then we had file rooms, so we actually had people that actually did nothing but filing. So things have changed a little bit. We had 8 employees at that time, and we had about $1.5 million of premium. Today, we're over 60 employees and $54 million in premium. So changed a lot since that day, and certainly a lot since some of you have been here. We've got a lot of new people. So we really are changing, and I think the purpose of today is to say the change is good, and we need to change even more. So as we go forward, to be able to perpetuate internally, and we need to do a lot of restructuring. So, as you can see, a lot of the good agencies in town have been sold, merged, bought out, died, and we will not be one of them. So we're going to make some changes, and with that, we're announcing some leadership changes for the parent corporation, which is the Knight Insurance Agency, Inc. Sam is going to take over the role as president, and Diane will be the chief operating officer. Diane's roles really won't change much because she's really been fulfilling those duties. We're just going to officially use that title on that. And then last November, we created some levels below her so that she didn't have 40 people reporting to her. So we now have some team leaders that have seemed to help out a little bit more on the operations side. But Sam is really going to get a lot of changes thrown at him. He's going to, besides being our lead producer, we've asked him to really focus the agency on trying to become an organic, high-growth agency. Service is still critically important. Retention is critically important. We just need to have the ability to start being a high-growth agency organically. We've grown pretty substantially, but a lot of that was mergers, acquisitions. We need to grow organically to be able to perpetuate the agency for the next generation and the next generation on down. So Sam's going to be working closely with the producers to help them on their growth goals, and also he is going to work with Norman and use all the resources we have. Speaking of Norman, as you all know, he's been with us for 4 years, was asked to do a very big change of trying to turn the ship into a sales organization. I think he's done a great job, so I'm really pleased with what we've seen over the last 4 years. Going forward, Norman's focus will be on mergers and acquisitions, carrier relationships, and still continuing to work closely with Sam on the producer's goals. My role isn't changing much. I'm still going to work on the financials, mergers, acquisitions, but I'm going to depend more strongly on my executive team, which is going to be Sam and Diane and myself. We still have a strong management team of Mark, John, Joe, Norman, and Jason, but for the day-to-day items, we're really going to be looking at Sam and Diane to help lead the entity going forward. We have now, with the new acquisition, we have 5 separate companies besides all the branches and affiliations, so we are doing a lot of trying to get the accounting, getting those working together. Joe and Jason are still running our middle market team, and I'd like to recognize them for what a good job they've done for opening up opportunities that we've never would have seen before. With their expertise, we really have been very, very successful, and I can say now there are accounts that we're no longer afraid to go after because of their expertise. Mark will continue as president of Knight Willis, and Knight Willis is our largest affiliate with offices in Connersville, Hamilton, Highland, and now Griffith. So Mark is going to continually focus on his sales, and then integrating and growing these offices along with looking at acquisitions for those offices and new producers. And then speaking of the acquisitions, we finally did announce the Spitzmiller in Griffith, Indiana, so this is really exciting news for us because it takes our Northwest Indiana and really strengthens that. Brings on some great new talent. We bring on 2 new producers, or 3 new producers, and 2 new service staff, so we're really excited about that end of it. So we're remodeling that offices as we speak. Cal is actually there. and hopefully we'll accomplish that before he finishes the 2-year jobs he hasn't done here. So we would hope to have the offices together by November, but, you know, as long as we would get them, you know, sometime in that area. And again, Mark has done a great job in putting that merger together and working with Rich closely, so he'll be spending a lot of time up there. And then last, I'd like to say, you know, we're going back to agency of choice, and these are things that every time we make a decision, we try to think it through, and I want you all to kind of put this on your head, is to put all of the stakeholders' hats on when you try to make a decision. So not what is it best for me, but what is it best for, is it for the greater good of our stakeholders? And you know, that simply means, you know, when you write an account, is it really, you know, is it good for the carriers? Is it a good fit? Is it good for the client? Have you done a good job of really looking at what they need? We don't want order takers, we want somebody to really look into it. Is it good for the owner's hats? Because, you know, as you can imagine, corporation needs to have a profit to be able to perpetuate and to pay everybody. So those are all things we really need to look at. So we have to really work and focus on getting long-term profitable relationships. So please ask that, you know, when you make a decision, put on everybody's hat and see if it works for everybody. And in that's about it. I'd just like to say thank you for everybody. I'm really excited to be part of this team. And hopefully going forward, we'll have more video conferences for everybody, and we'll be one office sharing one message. Thank you.
All right.